Tēnā koutou katoa, mihi mahana I te whānau o hatoa anaru. Welcome to you, the family of St Andrews. Welcome to the second week of our Chaplaincy online. I hope that wherever you are, this finds you well, mostly with family, I'm sure, and hope you are coping with your learning online, and to the staff who are managing their families and also their lessons. My thoughts and prayers go out to you all. And any family that is in difficulty and struggling through this time that you're isolated from those that you'd like to be connected with. Today, our Chaplaincy Online incorporates two sacristans, Abby Jones and Sarah Anthony. In the past, or we have a tradition of having our sacristans speak on the DPR value and of the term and their perspective on it. And so Abby, as the head sacristan, and Sarah as the assistant sacristan, are going to give a message based on compassion and their insights into this. So we look forward to that. Firstly, I'm going to bring you the reading for Chaplaincy and our chapel today. This comes from Luke 15:11-24, and it's from the Passion Translation. Then Jesus said, "Once there was a father with 2 sons. The younger son came to his father and said, 'Father, don't you think it's time to give me my share of your estate?' So the father went ahead and distributed between the sons their inheritance. Shortly afterward, the younger son packed all his belongings and travelled off to see the world. He journeyed to a far-off land where he soon wasted all he was given in a binge of extravagant living. With everything spent and nothing left, he grew hungry, because there was severe famine in that land. So he begged in that country to hire him, a farmer in that country to hire him. The farmer hired him and sent him out to feed the pigs. The son was so famished he was willing even to eat the slop given to the pigs, because no one would feed him a thing. Humiliated, the son finally realized what he was doing, and he thought, 'There are many workers in my father's house who have all the food they want, with plenty to spare. They lack nothing. Why am I here dying of hunger, feeding these pigs and eating their slop? I want to go back home to my father's house, and I'll say to him, Father, I was wrong, I've sinned against you. I'll never again be worthy to be called your son. Please, Father, treat me like one of your employees.' So the young son sent off for home. From a long distance away, his father saw him coming, dressed as a beggar, and great compassion swelled up in his heart, for his son was returning home. The father raced out to meet him, swept him up in his arms, hugged him dearly, and kissed him over and over with tender love. Then the son said, 'Father, I was wrong. I have sinned against you. I could never deserve to be called your son. Just let me be.' The father interrupted and said, 'Son, you're home now.' Turning to his servants, the father said, 'Quick, bring me the best robe, my own robe, and I will place it on his shoulders. Bring the ring, the seal of sonship, and I will place it on his finger. And bring out the best shoes, and you can find for my son. Let us prepare a great feast and celebrate. For my beloved son was once dead, but now he's alive. Once he was lost, but now he's found.' And everyone celebrated with overflowing joy." Here ends the reading.
The 2020 Tokyo Olympics will go down in history, not just due to COVID and the weird sights of everyone in masks, but also the sportsmanship, compassion, and overall mental health focus that these games have had. There were 3 main acts that stood out for me in these games. Firstly, the 2 high jumpers who were able to share the gold medal after both clearing 2.37 metres, but not any more. The athletes from Italy and Qatar chose not to have a jump-off as would normally occur to decide the winner, but rather share the medal instead. In a quote, Mutaz Barsham, the Qatar jumper, said, "I know for a fact that for the performance I did, I deserved that gold." He did the same thing, so I know he deserved the gold too. I'm sure everyone has seen that video by now of the 2 gold medalists and friends jumping around with joy at the ability to share this moment together. Neither men were thinking about themselves and wanting to be the best. They were genuinely happy for each other. It was a true show of compassion. The second act was when 2 Australian teammates worked together to help win Australia's first ever decathlon medal. In the event, athletes compete in 10 track and field events over 2 days, where they are awarded points based on their performance in each event, with the top points winning. Australian Ashley Maloney was in bronze medal position coming into the final event of the 1500 metre race. But he was struggling. Fortunately, his teammate Cedric Dubler, who was out of medal contention, sacrificed his own time in race to help Maloney get the medal. He acted as a pacemaker for him and was repeatedly yelling for him to keep going. Although this had no physical benefit for Maloney, the presence of his friend and teammate meant he was able to continue in the race. And he did. The pair continued the race together until Maloney sprinted past Dubler to cross the finish line, much to the joy of Dubler, who was seen celebrating before he had even finished. The selfless act of Dubler enabled Maloney, at the young age of 21, to gain the bronze medal. Compassion drove this act. Dubler was still carrying an injury, so was unable to fulfill his own dream, but he pushed Maloney to get his. Now, although we are not all going to go to the Olympics, we can still take these compassionate acts into our own lives. Any little act, whether that is celebrating your friend's successes or a gold medal, can have lasting impacts. Compassion literally means to suffer together, as per its Latin roots, but I thought that there was a bit of hope lacking in that definition. So I found another, one which I felt accurately defined compassion by splitting the act into sub-processes to fully understand the concept. These processes are noticing, feeling, responding, with each contributing to the overall act of compassion. And upon further research, particularly into the growing field of positive psychology, the benefits of compassion are becoming more common. And I will just name a few so I can prove that I'm not just making this all up. Firstly, compassion provides social connection, which is a very important part of living a positive and fulfilled life. This increased connection has a lot of flow-on effects, including boosting self-esteem, empathy, and overall well-being. Studies done at the University of Michigan and Stony Brook University found that showing compassion and connecting with others may lengthen our lifespan, as it is shown to decrease stress. I think that's one point to being compassionate. If you still need convincing, an experiment was done by Elizabeth Dunn, a psychology professor at the University of British Columbia, where those participating received a sum of money. One half were instructed to spend the money on themselves, and the other to spend it on others. And since I'm including this, I think you can see where this is going. Those that spent the money on others were significantly happier than those who spent the money on themselves, which honestly I found to be quite a surprising result. And for my third act of the Olympics was the situation that surrounded Simone Biles, one of the best athletes in the world, but she became one of the most controversial after these Olympics. If you've ever seen her compete or just carry herself, she's always happy and positive. But these Olympics show that she is human and she struggles like everyone else. She was at the peak of her performance, performing moves that no other female gymnast had done before. She was expected to win gold in these games. And after the first round of qualifications in Tokyo, that seemed possible. She qualified for 6 finals, all 4 apparatuses, the team final and the individual final. And that was without doing some of her most difficult skills in the qualifying round. Her first event was the team finals, where she wasn't able to compete one of her more basic skills in this. And she left the arena while the audience was left puzzled as to what had happened. She returned, spoke to her teammates, put on her tracksuit, and that was that. Soon after, a statement came out saying that she had withdrawn due to medical reasons. She then revealed that she was not in the right headspace to compete and decided it was not safe for her to continue the competition. This was met with large amounts of criticism, but she stayed true to herself and prioritised her mental health and safety. Now, Simone's story is less obviously connected to compassion or a compassionate act than the others, but she showed compassion towards herself, which is just as important as towards anyone else. She noticed her own headspace. She felt that she wasn't safe while competing, and she responded by quickly removing herself from that unsafe situation. She showed compassion. All three of these acts show compassion in different ways, through the different stories with different outcomes, but the same goes for anyone else. There is not one strict guide to showing compassion, it varies, but the most important part of it all is that it all counts and it all makes an impact. A simple "how are you" or a compliment may not cost you anything, but can have an overwhelming effect on others. A longer life, a gold medal, or just a smile can all come from acts of compassion, but they can't be seen unless we strive to show it.
Have you ever wanted your own way? One of Jesus' parables that I believe shows compassion is the parable of the prodigal son. In this parable, a son publicly dishonors his father. This son went to his father and asked for his inheritance. This is like saying that he wished his father were dead because he wanted his inheritance early. Then the son went and wasted all of his father's hard-earned money on selfish things. Needing money, he was forced to take a job feeding the pigs. In the Jewish culture, any kind of meat from a pig is forbidden because pigs are considered as unclean animals. So for this man, this was about as low as he could sink. Even the pigs had a better life than he did. Humbled, he decided that he would be better off returning home. He expected his father to be very angry and upset. However, his father was overjoyed and filled with compassion. How would you feel if someone you trusted had wasted all of your money on silly things? In this parable, the father is representative of God, and the lost son represents all of us who have failed. Jesus is trying to show us that no matter how much we go wrong, he is always there, waiting for us with open arms, just like the Father is in this parable. If we accept our need of his forgiveness and compassion, he will, in return, have compassion on us and accept us into his glorious kingdom.
Thank you, Amy and Sarah, for those great insights, for the time you've taken to prepare and share with our StAC community. I want to conclude with a prayer for us all. Let us draw near to God in prayer. Let us pray. God of compassion, thank you for your love for our world, a love that suffers with us, a love that rejoices with us, a love that stands beside us no matter what, a love that we cannot be separated from. God of love, help us to see your love in our lives, where we can rejoice in another's success and cry with another's suffering. Give us the compassion to be able to walk mercifully in another's shoes. God of grace, we are undeserving of your favour, yet we are gifted it anyway. May this insight give us the grace to be gracious to others in all circumstances. Lord, go ahead of us today and hear our prayer. Amen.